Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to BeamNG.Drive. We are here on our Cliff Roads rally course to put some off-roaders to the test. Now, we start today with the gravel D-Series TRex. I think this car will do very, very, very well. And we're off. So, first corner, handled it well. Now, these cars are going to be nowhere near as fast as the hill climb cars we had run down the other day. However, these are easier to mess up. As you see, I nearly rolled it there. And a bit more challenging for me to drive. I'm used to cars that have grip and you can drive fast and not get bounced off the side of the cliff. But these cars don't really adhere to any of those rules. This thing is moving 162 kilometers an hour, and we're coming into the braking zone here. It does pretty well, automatic box, so I don't really have to worry about it. Bit of cut in the corner. These cars work pretty cool because you can cut the corners and just power and all as well. And we're about a little jump, bit of air. Hard landing though, surprisingly. I guess you got a bit of weight with this TRex landing. I chose the TRex because it was probably going to be the quickest out of the D-Series range. Nearly binned it as we come around the final complex. Back in the welly and across the line. I mean, didn't sort of stop in time and we had a small crash. However, pretty planted car. So up next you will see, sort of after each run, there'll be like a crashes sort of slideshow thing where I mess up and have crashes. So when it comes up, here it is. Yeah, this was the first run and I messed up the first corner, shot off the road, popped the front tyres, and the rest is history. Our next vehicle is the gravel Roma Kodiak, or Kodiak. I don't friggin' know, I just call it the Kodiak. Sounds cool. This car was surprising as it lifts its front wheel into the air on the way through the first turn. It was, not nice to drive this car. We managed to keep it pretty stable though up into the second corner, lifts the front wheel again. As we increase the speed as we run down the hill, I'm pretty sure it lifts the front wheel here as well. Yeah, suspension is just too soft. See, there's a point where suspension's too solid on like race cars, and then they're too soft, stuff like Kodiak. I nearly crashed there. That definitely didn't help the time. But at the end of the day, I have said with this series that we go with the first clean run. This was a clean run. The car didn't get crashed. As we come up into the 90 left, big cut. Suspension could cope with it. Still sort of bouncing its way down the course. It's very hard to control as I bounce it off the wall and actually pop the rear tyre. Over the little jump, no air at all because we're not really travelling that fast with a popped rear tyre. I decided to use this run because it was still, even with the popped rear tyre, the quickest time I'd got out of this vehicle. So we just sort of crept along, continued down the course. I already knew by the way the thing handled that it was just not going to set the world on fire. So we come flying down towards the line and across the line. Back into the wall because it was the scariest vehicle I have ever driven. Just too much body roll and the thing just wanted to fall over all the time, as I demonstrate here with some celebratory doughies, and then, because it's Kodiak, a celebratory fall over. Yep. So, you'll see what I mean in a moment. Here you go. It just falls over. But, good car. Had fun. Up next is a mod that I've made. It's an ETK I-Series with a 6 litre V12. pumped up suspension, big wheels. So we're off ski. This car, because of the immense amount of power and how solid the suspension is to get the ride height, took quite a few attempts to get a good run. As you'll see after this run, there was many crashes with the I-Series, but considering that this car is definitely not built to be an off-roader, and it's not really built to go down this course either, it did pretty well, I think. But yeah, it's a good car, considering what it is, I guess. As we're hitting 140 odd, it was actually quicker, but I missed it. Coming down into the 90 left, hard on the brakes, back to first gear, nearly roll it. Back on the power, second gear, hold second, yeah. The gear ratios are pretty long in this car. Little bit of air over little jump. I think we run second or third most of the way down here. Yeah, it is a pretty decent car. I enjoy driving it. I think I enjoy it more because it was my configuration. But anyway, it's all fun and games, and we are across the line. I once again can't get these things stopped as well as I could the hill climb cars, and we bump into the building. Only the radiator. Who needs them anyway? But yeah, up next is the crashes that I had with this car. Some of them are interesting, but we're not going to take anything away from this car. It's a brilliant car. I feel like it could have gone pretty close to the top as I proceed to crash it. However, here come the crashes. Here's the first one. It just fell over. We just got a bad bounce off a bump and it literally just fell over. Yeah, that was a big accident. Here's the next one, and it literally just fell over and wrapped itself around a small tree. Here's another one. Bit of a bad bounce along the straight and wrapped itself around a tree. Pretty cool how the door held it in the tree for a bit, but yeah, once again. And another roll. Took too much in the 90 left and rolled it over. And here's the last crash I had, just in the sand. Nice gentle roll, but still not good. Righto, up next is the the Grand Marshal off-roader. Not my config. It goes okay. Definitely needed more power. I was going to put a supercharger. In fact, I did try it with the supercharger, but it just spun up everywhere. This is the first off-roader that hasn't been four-wheel drive, and it really hurts this car not being four-wheel drive. Unfortunately, there is no option for a four-wheel drive Grand Marshal, so you're sort of stuck for choice, really. It's like someone's made this config. I like it because it's got a big bull bar on the front, which you can't put on the I-Series, which for the I-Series to be a good off-roader you really need one, because it just breaks the drive shaft all the time. But anyway, yeah, this car could have been better. Very, very bad suspension. You just bounce the whole way down the back straight. Coming up into the 90 left. Bounce, 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 bounce. Yep, beautifully done. Yeah, this car wasn't particularly impressive. I do think, looking back, that even the Kodiak was a better car than this. This thing just didn't have the power. And it didn't handle very nice either. It just bounced. Well, I just bounced the arse around too much. But, all in all, once again, awesome config. I mean, I love cars that get turned into what they shouldn't be, like my Hill Climb I-Series and my my Off-Road I-Series. I love that sort of stuff, and we're across the line. It bounces to a stop. Still bouncing, still bouncing, still bouncing. Right, yeah, nice car, but just not enough power. We did have a crash, so you'll see that in a minute as I attempt to do some celebratory doughies that go well for once. And then I crash into a building. Yep, that's gone well. However, here comes the crash. Right near the end, just ran a little bit wide, lost the rear, up the hill, thought, oh, fuck yeah, sick exit, and then it... yeah. So, very unstable car. Up next is the Moonhawk off-roader. Once again, big ground clearance. However, rear-wheel drive. So it doesn't go the best. However, we're off. Just spun this car. Wheel spin galore over the bumps. Spun. Really hard suspension like my I-Series. However, I did get it in one run, surprisingly. So this car mustn't be too bad if I managed to get it in one run. But yeah, just once again, awesome config. It came from the same config pack that the Grand Marshal did, and I really like it. But just for a particular course, definitely not the best vehicle to choose. Although in saying that, probably still better than the Kodiak and the Grand Marshal. Driving wise, it felt that way, that it was a better car. Coming up into the 90 left, we get it nice and slow down and stop, turn it in, miss the bump on the inside, which probably cost me a little bit of time. But on the go-go pedal, wheel spin out of there as usual. Up to little jump, back to second gear, a little bit of air. Don't really notice it though, because its suspension's so hard it just doesn't move when it lands. Through the back section here, pretty out of control, but we managed to drag this lump through there. As we come around the final kink on the power again, and we're coming up to the line and across it. And we broke the rear end on the way through. That was the last thing I expected the Moonhawk was going to do as we crossed the line. However, I guess that's racing for you. And we punched the diff out of it. But you live and you learn, I guess. That's what they say. Yeah, so as you can see, rear wheel's sort of missing and the other one's a kilometre away from the car. But it's all good. Ish. Well, now we're looking at building. Aha! There we go. Yeah, so it punched the whole diff across the car, which I've never seen before. Okay, our final vehicle is the Hiroshi Sunburst Pre-Runner. Pretty sure it comes from the same pack as the other cars. In yellow, because yellow makes it go faster, and we're off. A lot like the Moonhawk and the I-Series, suspension is very solid on this car, and that's to get the ground clearance to make it a decent off-roader. However, for what we're doing here on our mountainous rally course thing, you need half-decent suspension, and that's why next week's race cars could struggle. I haven't actually done it yet, so we will find out, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, coming through this back section, it's so bouncy. Speedo's not reading, which means the wheels aren't on the bloody ground. Anyway, coming up into the 90 left over the little crest, down to first gear, get it all locked up and turned in. Back on the go-go pedal again. Actually get to fourth gear with this car. Back to third for the little jump. A little bit of air, not much. Didn't really want to unsettle the car too much because if it bounces up in the air you have a monumental crash. So we're back on the power again through the final couple of corners. Because of the suspension is very bumpy through here, so it was pretty out of control. As we come up to the finish line and across the line. Actually managed to get it stopped, and then to celebrate, some reverse doughies. This car's one of the best reverse doughies car I've ever seen, apart from my hill climb car. Don't know why it does that, but anyway. So some celebratory reverse doughies will lead us nicely into the results eventually, I think. Yes, I'm just... yeah. I like the nudge bar on the front with the rally lights, it looks good. But yeah, a good car, the Sunburst. Very, 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 very good car. So here are the results. First place was the D35 TRex with a 122.17. My I-Series was next with a 122.78. The pre-runner was third with a 125.17. The Moonhawk was in fourth with a 130.35. The Grand Marshal was in fifth with a 136.67, and the Kodiak was a 138.8. To be expected, really, because of the tyre. So, the overall leaderboard, once again, hill climb cars at the top, off-roaders next. The D35 wasn't that far off the Pessima hill climb, so you never know. I'm hoping that one day someone can knock off that SBR4 hill climb. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.